Hello, this is Dr. Do again. This video is still on alphabetic list problems on letter T. Today I'm going to talk about the T cell and associated diseases. T cell is one type of lymphocytes. I think in the immune section under letter I mentioned briefly about T cells. But today I'm going to just talk about the T cells, the classifications, the functions, and the diseases. Because it is so important, particularly in cellular immunity. That's the major function cells in the body. So basically, I think I already mentioned previously when I talked about the immunity. Let me just bring up the emergency associated with this T cell dysfunction. Usually it's not, because the cellular action immunity is kind of delayed. It's not acute. During the acute phase, either infection or anything, macrophage or neutrophils or the antibodies are the major front line on top of the mechanical barriers or the proteins or the enzymes. So these are for the active immunity. This kind of terminology, active immunity, actually. The T cell is really involved in usually it's not acute phase, but it's in the long run and also in the chronic time, with time and also need time to start to function. So basically this T cell associated diseases are really, I couldn't think of anything emergency unless the complication of T cell diseases, for example, the leukemia. On top of the leukemia, chronic or acute, usually on top of that, associated with the infections or any other conditions. So it's complicated because of the original T cell diseases. Usually, if the isolated T cell diseases, it probably is not. I couldn't think of anything associated with emergency. If later on came up to me, I would just make a addendum video or addendum note, because I start to think about this topic when I sit in front of the camera. But anyway, so this is the T cells. Usually the T cells had it's another two classes or three classes lymphocytes. It's complicated. T cells, B cells, NK cells. NK cells and natural killer cells, they associate with T cell together to degrade the cells, to break down the cells. It's called NK cells. In the function of NK cells mediate the cytotoxic reaction. So this is the immunology, a medical immunology term. But anyway, so the B cells I already mentioned is really the one who is responsible for the antibody generation, either for the viral infection or bacterial infection, acute phase and immunity, and along after the acute phase, the long time to battle the bacteria, virus, or any other antigens. So the T cells involved in the cellular immunity. T cells, there are different classes. For example, the CD4 T cell, CD8 T cell, which is cytotoxic T cell, and helper T cell. There are two others, surveillance T cell and also memory T cells. So these are the four major T cells. Their function is variety, involved in the to help immunity antibody to remember this antigen was here before, was invaded before. So this T memory cells will remind the B cells, you have encountered this before, so now it's time for your antibody to act. So this is the kind of T helper cells. T memory cells, this is the T memory cells. Surveillance T cells circulate in the body like a police patrolling in the blood, to identify either the foreign body or the abnormal cells, for example, the cancer cells or pre-cancer cells, and to notice the immune system. We have something normal or unusual going on, and remind the other either T4 cells or T8 cells, CD4, CD8 cells. I'm going to talk about it later, or the antibody to or the macrophage to start to action to get rid of that abnormal cells. So this is the surveillance T cells. And the T helper cells, the CD4 T cells, that's really help all the immune functions, either antibody or the lymphocytes or the macrophage. So this T help T cells is very important. The famous notorious human immune deficiency virus infection is attack this T helper cells, which is CD4 cell. CD4 means cluster of the differentiation. Is a marker of the cells. So this is a class of T cells that is really carry on so important functions in the immunity, either the cellular or the antibody or the just the neutrophils or the macrophage. So that's the CD4 T helper cells. And also there's another CD8, which is the cytotoxic T lymphocytes. This is the cells involved in the work with the antibody or the NK cells to lyse to degrade either the cells or the bacteria, to just break down the cell membrane through the biochemical mechanism. So these are the different. This is just the superficial to very touch basis of the T cells. The immunity, the immune cells is quite complicated. In terms of the T cell diseases, I mentioned first of all is the human immune deficiency virus caused disease is attack the T helper cell, which is CD4 cells. And because of this, CD4 cells is so important in all the immunity functions. So that's why those patients tend to have decreased this CD4 cells and also increase the chance of malignancy, infection, a variety of bacteria infection, viral infection, or parasite infection, or a typical bacterial infection. So this is a variety of complications because of this CD4 or helper T cells is damaged. And also the other associated disease with T cell associated disease are the leukemia, different kind of malignancy. They tend to affect these T cells. In addition to the lymphoma, which usually refer to the B cell malignancy, but the leukemia usually either the leukocyte or the T cells actually is one of the malignant and with high grade proliferation and quite malignant leukemia. So you probably heard of it. So this is about the other important conditions associated with these T cells. Or there's some other inborn genetic caused immune deficiency. Could be B cell deficiency or could be T cell deficiency. Depends on the disease itself. So this is regardless of the cause. If the T cell is not function well, either T helper cells, cytolytic T cells, or memory T cells, or the surveillance T cells, any of these T cells is affected, or is infected, or it's not normal, then will cause increased risk of tumor, infection, and also malignancy. So this is the video touch fundamental basic concept of T lymphocytes. It's very complicated. If you're interested, you can search in terms of some terminology and concepts and clinical diseases. I'm going to stop here today. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.